Arguably one of the most famous military expeditions in history is that of Subutai and Jebe. Their expedition saw conquest of the entire Caucasus region, including kingdoms in Azerbaijan, Georgia, and even the Kievan Kipchaks. In this video, I will cover one of their most decisive victories at the Battle of Kalka River, where the Mongols, under Jebe and Subutai, defeated a larger coalition of Rus principalities and Kievan Kipchaks. In 1206, Genghis Khan and his Mongol horde embarked on one of the most audacious military campaigns that would see them establish the largest contiguous land empire in history. By 1227, Mongol hegemony would stretch from the Mongolian steppe to the front door of Eastern European kingdoms such as the Kievan Rus. For purposes of this video, we will cover Jebe and Subutai's expeditionary raid around the Caucasus region. Initially, they were ordered to engage in an expedition to the kingdoms in Georgia and Azerbaijan. However, after sacking Bukhara, Urgench, and Cumans, they proceeded further inward until they reached the Rus principalities. Several Cumans had escaped to the Rus principalities, so Jebe and Subutai demanded that the Rus hand over the Kupchaks that had escaped. In an act of defiance, the Rus principalities refused to hand over the Cumans and formed an army to meet the Mongols. The Rus territory was broken into several principalities, each led by its own prince. Under Mstislav III of Kiev, Yuri II of Vladimir, and Mstislav of Galicia, the Rus princes united to form an army of 30,000. Their force was largely composed of heavy cavalry, knights, men-at-arms, and Cuman horse archers. Their army had over roughly 100 regional princes and nobles. In contrast, Jebe and Subutai had roughly 20,000 mounted units, mostly light cavalry and horse archers with a mix of heavy cavalry. It is important to note that Mongol heavy cavalry was different from European heavy cavalry, because the horse breeds in the Mongolian steppe were smaller. Each force met each other near the Dnieper River in Kievan Rus territory. The initial engagement saw Rus overpower the light cavalry, but midway through the battle, the Mongols employed their most famous and deadly tactic, the feigned retreat. A feigned retreat was withdrawing from the battlefield as to appear defeated, so the opposing force would give chase thinking that they had won the battle. In chasing the retreating force, gaps would form between the chasing troops, which would allow for an effective and vicious counterattack. For 9 days, the Mongols feigned a retreat, and the three major armies continued to give chase. However, they were in for a brutal surprise. After the Mongols had crossed the Kalka River, they turned and crashed into the dispersed and separated armies. The force of the counterattack was so powerful that it completely scattered and obliterated the Cumans. Upon sight of the Cumans' defeat, the other armies fled as fast as possible. The Mongols, however, gave chase and caught up to the fleeing armies. Once the Rus were encircled, the Mongols allowed for a gap, so the enemy could flee, but this was a trick. It allowed the Mongols to funnel the remaining troops to make it easier to pick them off. To this day, Kalka River remains one of Russia's worst defeats. Over 81 princes and nobles were captured. In an act of gross savagery, the Mongols feasted on a wooden plank that laid on top of the captured Rus nobility. What makes the Battle of Kalka River such a monumental battle is that the Mongols did a 9-day feigned retreat against a larger force thousands of miles from their base of strength, and their tactics worked. It is likely the longest feigned retreat by an entire army in military history. Aftermath and significance. The battle at Kalka River set up 100+ years of Mongol control over the Rus principalities. One principality decided to submit willingly, Novgorod. Novgorod would go on to be modern-day Moscow. For this victory, and the entire expedition, Jebe and Subutai would go down as two of the greatest generals in military history. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, Please like, share, or subscribe as it would be a great help and keep you notified of new content.